Welcome to the 22nd ever episode
Of the Iced Coffee Hour.
of the Iced Coffee Hour.
We have made so far
$7,033.
$300.
Yeah.
So welcome back to the
That was
podcast.
good. That was good. You know, people call you Las Vegas Graham.
Yeah, and they call
You
you
kind of look alike. And we got the same.
LA Andre.
Yeah, LA and Las Vegas Graham.
But now you're coming here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So now we got two Las Vegas Grahams.
I know. One of them is an imposter.
The nice one and the evil one.
Which one's which?
You're definitely the evil one.
Anyway. So Andre, you have a really cool story. You started off with magic.
Yes.
Then you got into personal finance and you started making YouTube videos on personal finance with some really incredible editing, and you incorporate magic into your videos, and you're quickly approaching 1 million subscribers.
Isn't that crazy?
1 million.
A million.
A million.
And you've been growing really, really fast. Too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Very fast.
Get me to 1 million, please.
Everyone
yeah.
subscribe to Andre.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing right now and subscribe to Andre.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll push you over 1 million.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then you bought some Pokemon card packs to
I
make
did.
unbox.
You wanna see
for 1
them?
million? I do.
All right.
So
Yeah.
welcome. You are one of the most highly requested guests that people want on the podcast.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Well, here I
Definitely.
am.
So thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Yeah, the most anticlimactic guest ever. Hi.
No, this is going to be a great episode because before we even started filming, you wanted to show us your Pokemon cards. I'm like, no, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
That's right.
I want to wait until we start filming. So why don't we introduce you really quick?
Sure.
So I don't know how you want it. Like, I'm just going to freestyle it here. But you started in Magic.
Yeah.
And you were, what is it? What do you call it? The cardistry, right?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Do you want me to tell you that story?
Yes, I do,
For
actually.
the two people that care?
Yeah.
So in Magic, which is basically what you're doing card tricks to fool people, to entertain people, right? That's the David Copperfields, the Chris Angels, the David Blaines. But within Magic, there was a rift. There was a separation of people who had two different mindsets. And there was an art form emerged that was called flourishing, right? Flourishing was basically like, if I had a deck of cards, I could show you, but it's like when a magician fans a deck of cards and I'm like, pick a card, right? The flourish is the deck of cards that was fanned, or like the spring, the little that people do. That's called a flourish. So a flourish is when you do an action to accentuate a bigger intent. So in the sense, the intent is for you to pick a card, but the action is like really pretty flourishy thing. Like he twirled his hat with a flourish, right? So a bunch of guys got together and they were like, what if we took out all the flourishes for Magic and just did that? Like there was no larger intent. There's no card tricks. I just want to do cool, like flippy stuff with cards. And out of that came this art form called cardistry. So I was kind of around since the beginning of it, which was like in 2002. And I've been around since then, which was crazy. And yeah, we just took a bunch of these flourishes and made it into an art form. And yeah, that's the story of cardistry. It looks way cooler when you actually see what it looks like.
I've seen some of these guys. They do the flips where they take it from one hand, they flip it up, and they do the curl, and so you're able to do that.
Yes, the overhead spring. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know magic as well?
I do. Yeah, I started off with Magic, which was crazy because my parents do gymnastics, like they're Cirque du Soleil acrobats. So I'm a circus kid. Like I travel the world with my parents. We traveled to like Germany, Switzerland, Belgium, Holland, like all over Europe. And then my parents were like, well, we have a kid. Let's settle down because he needs to go to school. So my dad got called to Cirque du Soleil here in Vegas to go and perform. And yeah, we settled down here in Vegas. I started going to school. And I always saw my parents growing up like do this crazy stuff with their bodies. Like they were manipulating, doing essentially flourishes, but with their bodies, right? And so I was doing gymnastics at the time too, but I hated it because like it's so exhausting. It hurts, right? And so I'm like, I don't want to do this stuff forever, but I love the fact that my parents perform in shows, and that's who I grew up around. Like literally until the age of 12, I thought every single person in the world was a gymnast. I was like, hey, what does your dad do? And they're like, my dad's a cop. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's not a clown? Well, does he ride camels? Elephants? No, he's a cop. Wow. There's people that do things more than the circus? Like literally when I was 12. So that kind of led me down this path of exploring this visual art form. And my dad took me to a magic shop when I was like 9 years old. And I saw this card trick and it blew me away. And I was like, whatever this feeling I got, I was like, I have to recreate it for other people. It's like this, it's indescribable.
What was the card trick?
The card trick was just a simple pick a card trick. It wasn't anything fancy. It was called the invisible deck.
Okay.
It's basically when you're like, hey, name a card. and then you name a card. I take out the deck, I fan it through, and the card you named is in reverse, like it's face up.
How do they do that?
Yeah,
Can
how
you
do
tell
you
us?
do that?
We want to know.
Can you reveal the trick?
The fans want to
Funny.
know. The fans want to know.
yeah. I actually do reveal tricks, but only if I know that you would practice it and like recreate that feeling for other people. I don't reveal things just for the sake of like your curiosity.
If you told me
Yeah.
how to do this, I would 100% do it for people. I love
Jack
doing
would do it.
magic.
Yeah?
I love it. Yeah.
All right, I'll
Yeah.
show Jack.
He's going to put it in his Tinder profile. Pick a card, any card.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with his Las Vegas address.
Yeah.
do
So
it.
saw that card trick, was blown away, and I was like, I got to do this. So I started doing magic, and that led me to make videos of my magic. And I discovered cardistry later on, online forums back on, before social media. And then I started to do filmmaking, and I picked up a camera and I was like, I got to remember those skateboarding videos? Like they used to be a huge thing, and they were
I
like
used to do that.
with
I
fisheye
think
lenses.
Baker bootleg.
Yeah?
I think I used to buy those VHS sets at the
Yes,
skate shop.
yes.
Seriously, and I used to put them in, watch them, and then go out and skateboard.
So cardistry was going through that phase of like of evolution, if you want to call it that. And so it was interesting because as my cardistry improved, my cinematography had to get better. So I was like, how do I showcase what I can do even cooler? And so my magic and my cardistry would improve, then my video. And then it was like this little, game of cat and mouse back and forth until I got a job at a startup, like a startup company, a startup. And yeah, we were basically teaching people how to do magic and card tricks online. And eventually we got to work on movies like Now You See Me and just all over sorts of like cool shows. And it was awesome. It was a cool experience that taught me a lot. And yeah, that's the story.
But then how did you make the shift to personal finance and investing?
Yeah, my parents really sucked with money. So they were immigrants when they came here. Like they didn't know what a credit card was.
Where are the immigrants from?
From Russia. So we were from Russia. And when we came here, it was like they just bought so much crap like on credit.
In Russia, credit gets you.
Yes. Very true.
Stupid.
Graham's like, I'm really proud of
killed
that one.
I ruined it. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, so my parents were just terrible with money. And I was like, I just saw them growing up fighting about it all the time. So bad to the point where there were months that I thought that we would be living on the streets because they couldn't come up with the bills, they couldn't come up to pay. So I was like, I never want to have this feeling again in my life. And I was obsessed from that moment on since I was like 9 or 10 to worry about money and how to make more of it. And I was chasing it and I didn't get anywhere. But through that concept, I just kind of learned about the FIRE community. I think we had the same like upbringing to where we followed like the same people growing up. We watched the same YouTubers. We watched Simple Pickup, right?
Yep.
Vitali ZTV, all of those guys.
Good prank channels, man.
So great.
Yeah.
But I feel like we grew up in that same era when those little niche communities were just like these little secret pockets of the internet. We would have these like weird people that are obsessed about these weird things. And finance was one of them. And I was always obsessed about it. But in my community in Magic, I didn't know how to relate with people because entertainers are horrible with money, like notoriously bad. I'm sure you've heard stories.
Why?
Because they get so much of it so fast, they don't know how to manage it, right? You hear stories all the time of like Mike Tyson being broke and making hundreds of millions. And,
Yeah.
Right?
But those are some of the best. Like, what about for the average person who's doing this? How much money do they make?
I mean, they make a little bit above average, right? They'll make 50, 60K, maybe 70K, maybe 100K if you're like a really good performer and you have a solo act. But most of them are immigrants and they have no concept of what a Roth IRA is, or like what a 401k is or what credit cards are, how they're supposed to work. And so they just spend it as they get it. And that's how it works. So.
What?
That's what I didn't. What?
What are you talking about? Jack, cut that out. You cut that out. Jeez, what sort of question is that?
I like the effort though. A+.
Yes. He's trying so hard.
I love it. You got to keep it in.
All right, no, we're not going to keep that.
Okay, oh my
Cut
gosh.
that out. Cut that out. Cut that out.
Yeah.
Hold on. Collect ourselves here. So when did you make your first... Gotta collect yourself here.
I'm sorry. All right, let's go.
Okay. So when did you make your first YouTube video?
2019 in January.
Okay. Who inspired you to make YouTube videos?
Actually, it was my friend Peter McKinnon and Chris Ramsey.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't find
Cool.
you until March or April of that year, 2019. And at that time, I remember you had like 300,000 subs.
Yep.
And one of the first videos I saw of yours was that Apple one, Apple credit card.
Wow.
And that was one of the first few videos that kind of blew up for you, like really big. You got sued by Apple, supposedly, right? You
Yeah.
kinda
Oh,
made
that was golden time.
that was such a great
so-
time.
Yeah.
That's when I discovered your channel. That's when I used to see Kevin too, and I was like, "Who is this random dude?" And I see this guy all the time. And at the time, I was like, "Oh, we got the same lamp in the background. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of cool."
So that was by chance.
That was totally by chance.
Really?
I didn't
Okay.
know who you were until March.
and we have
or
the
April.
same haircut, kind of by chance.
Yes.
The same style,
Yes.
kind of by chance.
Yes. But you know what? It's interesting. I thought about that really deep, and I was like, "How is it that we have so many coincidences?"
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, "But of course, we would exist in this space where it's so public. Of course, two
Right.
like-minded people would find themselves at the same place at the same time. Because where else would we?"
Right.
I
That's
bet
true.
you. I
yeah.
bet you people
Yeah.
like this exist all the time in separate industries, but they're not as public as ours.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So the fact that we found each other and we're like twins from a different upbringing is like, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
That's funny because there is a lot of physical resemblance
That's
between
what I'm
you
saying.
two. Like it's weird.
It's
I didn't.
weird.
I've never
Yeah.
noticed it
Yeah.
until now. You guys
Yeah.
part your hair the other way.
Yes.
which is
I
one
used,
thing
I
only
used to do it
different.
this way.
you used to, and then they're like, "Oh, Graham stuff," and you're like, "Oh,
I was like, yeah, gotta change
the other
something.
way
He's
now.
the evil twin. Gotta do it the other way.
Mine doesn't go the other way. Mine automatically goes this way. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities. Like I remember seeing your videos for the first time and noticing that lamp. I think one of my first comments is, "Hey, nice lamp."
Yeah, I bet. And you were like, "Oh, that stupid idiot stole my lamp idea."
And my look, we look the same. The
look.
It's
Well, since
weird,
I'm older,
yeah.
I would say I'm the OG.
You're 30.
Oh.
I'm 31.
31. Okay,
Wow.
30. Yes, you got me. You got me by a year.
Did you start out
Jeez.
making finance content on YouTube?
I did, but I mixed it with magic. Yeah.
So you had that idea since the beginning.
Yes. Oh man, I could talk to you for hours about like the theory of YouTube and how to like succeed on it because I went into the psychology of it so deep because part of what magicians do is they study what's called subtleties.
Yeah.
And we study everything from things that you would never think about just to recreate 5 seconds of your life to make it seem like happenstance. And they're like, there's no way this dude spent 24 hours preparing for 5 seconds of my life. It's like, no, that's exactly what I did. I prepared 24 hours just to make 5 seconds of your life like mind-blowing. And that's how far we go.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what point I was trying to make with that.
Did
but
you know for a fact that you were going to be successful on YouTube with the background in doing production and now obviously good at magic?
No, not at all.
So you didn't think you were successful. Why did you start posting content then?
Yeah, because as I was in the magic industry, my friends Peter McKinnon and Chris Ramsey, they're other YouTubers as well, like massively bigger than myself and much more talented. They kind of encouraged me to do it. And they're like, dude, you know how to do it. And you always talk to us about money. We want to learn. Just like, go do it. And they kind of inspired me to go and try it. And my whole thing was, I was like, who's going to watch me? Like, I don't have a Lamborghini. I don't have money. I don't have millions of dollars. Like, at least you had some street cred to your name. Like, you were a millionaire when you started YouTube.
Yeah.
So there's some level of confidence that like I didn't have because I'm like, dude, I have like $250,000 saved and invested. That's like peanuts in comparison when you're looking at the people that are on the internet. And I was like, no one's going to watch me. I was like, I'll give myself a year to do YouTube. And that's it. And it just took off. But it made sense like 6 or 7 months into doing it. Before then, like nobody cared.
Yeah, I felt the same way, believe it or not. Even though you say I have street cred, when I started making videos, that was nothing because I was up against the Ty Lopez's,
Right.
and the Grant Cardones, and even the Alex Becker,
Right.
of just people were making so much money. I'm like, who would want to care? Who would care about what I have to say when
I mean,
they can
I
listen to
think
the next guy who's a little bit better?
Yeah. No, I think you've
Yeah.
accomplished so much at your age. You were 26 and you were a millionaire.
Yeah.
That is not normal.
Yeah, but see, where I was selling real estate, I would see people younger than me
Right.
that had started these companies and were doing so much better. Like I remember one of my first big clients was Casper. This is when they first the mattress company. This is when they first started, and they were all these young 20-somethings. Moving their office from New York to LA. They rented a house together. There's like 5 of them, and they grew it in this whole like $1 billion company. And I remember seeing that, like, why wouldn't they just listen to those guys?
Right.
Those guys are out. So I felt the same way as you.
Right.
I think no matter where you are, there's always going to be someone doing a little bit better.
A lot better
Yeah.
for sure. And I think that's the byproduct of being in LA, and there's just so many people that are successful. I didn't have that problem, but I had the internet problem. So like, yeah, I wasn't successful in any way. but I had strengths and I have strengths. And I think that what I realized doing YouTube is that as long as you have a voice and you have a unique way of saying it, that no matter what industry you want to attempt, there will be space for your voice as long as it's unique to you and how you say it.
I remember when I started watching your videos were intimidating to me because you put in such good editing, and I felt there's no way I could compete with you on that level.
Right.
There's no way. And I think if there's space for YouTube between two videos and your video is up against mine, I can't compete with you in terms of quality.
Right.
You spend so long on each video. It's so meticulous. Your intros, you had one intro the other day that you must have spent a few hours
on the fly one?
Yes. On like a 30 to 45 second intro.
It used to take me that long, yeah.
But I can't do that. So mine, I try to hit my 3 a week.
No, what's wonderful about what you did was, it's interesting because we had these same doubts probably at the same periods of our lives at the exact same time. Because for the last 6 years of my life, I just, like before I did YouTube, I doubted myself. I was like, I want to do it. I really want to do it. And I never did it. And then you had the courage to do it earlier by like, what, 2-3 years? Then I think you...
We'll call it late 2006. It was December, it's really January 2017.
Okay, so 2 years. 2 years, right. And that gave you first mover advantage, right? So now you're kind of known as the finance guy. And anything that anybody else does, because our industry is so small, is like whenever there's a new up and comer, it's like, well, they're copying Graham. And that's because our industry is so tiny. But like, how many YouTubers are there in the gaming space, in the cooking space, like literally anything?
Does that bother you?
It doesn't bother me, no. But I'm just saying, like, because it is so small, it is so easy to make those similarities and comparisons between us. Yeah. Even though, like, it's fine to have multiple people teaching finance. Like I said, how many other YouTubers are there in literally any other space?
That's true.
So many.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know where I was going with this. I totally lost my train of thought. I was going to say something good. That happens a lot.
You were going to tell them to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm.
Of course. Smash the YouTube button for the YouTube algorithm. I totally got that wrong.
So what kind of investing strategy do you employ for right now? What's your...
I'm just trying to diversify. Like? Yeah, I used to be just a huge dividend investor, and I still am. But I'm just trying to find other avenues as well for like real estate and crypto and all the other ones as well.
Can we talk about the cash position? Can we tied? Is that on limits?
Sure.
Holding a lot of cash.
Yeah, are you too? I thought you were too.
I am.
Yeah.
But
so is Kevin O'Leary, so it must be fine.
But you're holding a lot of cash.
I think you're holding more.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. But I'm saying, I have I have some like 30% of everything in cash. Okay. What would you say your cash it's hard to say cash position. Say it. Cash position. It's hard to say. What would you say your cash
position
is? What would you say it is right now?
I would say it is 90%.
90%.
Yeah, but part of that,
it's like over $1 million. Right?
It's over $1 million. But part of that,
why don't you invest?
Because I've never made this much money in my life, and I'm terrified of making a mistake. And because I don't know how much I'm going to pay in taxes. I mean, I have an idea, obviously.
Yeah.
But the fact that like I have to pay so much in taxes, I just want to make sure that I get an idea about what's going to happen.
You're not going to pay $1 million in taxes.
No, I know. Yeah. I know. It's going to be closer to 400, 450, 500 maybe, which is still a ton of money. I know I can invest the difference, but I don't know. There's still something that I'm holding off, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to wait and see what goes.
What about dollar cost averaging or something really safe?
I still dollar cost average every month. Yeah. It's just like, it's peanuts in comparison to what I'm making, but I'm still investing.
But
I'm still investing $5,000 or $6,000 a month. Like I'm still doing that.
You're missing the run up though. And
I am.
Who's to say maybe next month it drops 20%?
Right.
Who knows? But there's all those calculations that show you that investing as soon as possible is always better than holding off.
Really? They did that study where dollar cost averaging was beaten by lump sum?
Yes, 66% of the time, lump sum investing beats dollar cost averaging.
Okay, I think I read that somewhere.
If you have a lump sum available to you.
Right.
The difference is when people make one investment and that's it, versus investing consistently. Investing consistently will always win. But if you have a lump sum available right now, investing all of it at once, wins 66% of the time.
I don't think I'm making that much of a misstep just because I'm still investing. It's not like I'm sitting out and I'm waiting to time it, right? Because there's a ton of studies of like people trying to time the market perfectly. And even if you time it correctly, like 5 times in the last 50 years, you'd still lose to the person who just consistently invested month over month. So,
Right, but this isn't all the money you're going to have. You're not going to have, let's call it 500 grand lump sum, and you can invest once, and that's it for the
well,
rest
that's kind
your
of what you're
life.
saying. Well, not what you're saying, but I have to do that right now. Like I would just have to invest 500 grand all at once.
Ideally,
which
ideally,
I'm a little terrified to do.
Or you take 200,000 chunks, take $150,000 chunks on the first of the month.
For sure. That's
150
still,
grand.
I mean, that's
150 grand.
arguably like also dollar cost averaging.
Yes, but the whole point is getting over the psychological hesitation for just dumping into the market.
For sure.
Because I
mean,
think this almost reinforces then
Right.
that I waited this long, I'm going to keep waiting.
No, I don't think so. I think next year I'll definitely go hard on it. It's just my first year, and I've
better to be safe than sorry, yeah.
I've never made this much money in my life, and I have no idea if next year it's going to continue or is it going to go down. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea.
That
I'm
is really
so new to this world.
That is smart because Graham does say like, and a lot of people say this as well, but if you start making a bunch of money at once,
Yes.
or if you get like some sort of like crazy windfall,
Yes.
the best thing to do is just
Literally
sit on
sit
the
on it. Yeah,
Exactly.
which is
So
exactly what I'm getting.
it does make sense.
Yeah.
That what you're doing.
Plus, you said you're 30%, right? Like your 30% is more than my million. So like,
Yes. Yeah, that's
so,
true.
I mean, objectively, as far as numbers,
But that means
concerned,
70% of my money's invested.
right? But that's still millions of dollars that could
Not
be
90,
earning.
not 90% non-invested.
Well, I mean, percents aside, when we're talking about an objective number, we're still talking
is true.
millions
Yeah.
on your behalf that you are earning less
right, but my
interest than a million.
but my tax bill is probably
Well,
going to
there
be
we go. You got that same reason,
Yeah,
right?
but-
Taxes. But
yeah.
you know how much taxes you're going to pay. It's not a surprise.
right. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
literally your interest money is actually losing more money than my million because you have more millions. So even though the
Hey,
percent is more,
I'm looking at percentages here.
yeah, but I'm not.
Not total
Percentages
amounts,
of total portfolio?
Percentages
total
are meaningless
portfolio.
right now. Percentages are meaningless in the context of how much overall money we're talking about, right?
No.
What's a percent?
No,
when-
because 90% of your money's not invested. 30% of my money's not invested.
right.
So that's the difference. Is
I
that
know.
you need more money invested.
No.
But also,
Yes.
you
No.
guys are in completely different situations. So I would say if I was in Graham's situation, I would be acting more like him. If I was in yours, I would definitely be very, very like hesitant to actually
Right.
start
I'm
putting
not
money
saying
away.
that you're being a hypocrite. I would do the exact same thing in your position, just because when you have Graham's level of wealth, your goal is then not necessarily to risk that money as much as it is to protect what you have. And at my level, I mean, maybe you could make somewhat of the same point. But for me, I guess I'm comparing not percentages because my $1 million that's missing, let's say 7% per year, is let's say $70,000 per year that I'm missing out on appreciation. But if you have 3 million or 2 million in cash, you're literally missing out on 2 to 3 times as much. So objectively speaking, numbers, if we're looking at the actual dollar figure, you're missing out on more money.
Yes, but I'm also looking out for deals. So if I see a good real estate deal, especially moving here to Las Vegas, that opens up a lot of doors.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So that's why I keep cash on hand, because when you see a
Same
good
for
deal,
me. Same for me, right? We're both looking
but
at
you're
a house.
not buying real estate
I will. What are you talking about?
soon. We want Andre to move into the house next to me.
Yeah, and I really want
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
This is where we're spilling it.
Yeah,
Because you said someone who we're not going to talk about is planning because you didn't want to get people's hopes up.
Oh yeah, I guess.
But now I guess everyone knows.
Spill the beans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I guess I could be Graham's, and is it okay to say who else? Jeremy's neighbors.
Yeah.
That would be super cool. I just don't have my 2 years yet, and literally everybody I'm speaking to, they're like, just wait 2 more months. You're not going to get a prime rate from a jumbo loan right now, and I'm a prime candidate, so I might as well wait 2 months. Why like risk anything, and why pay more?
Yeah, I really want you as a neighbor.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Think about the
about all the money.
Content.
all the content we can make. Seriously,
do you honestly think we would make more content if we were next door neighbors?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah,
How?
we're
100%.
here now. We came all the way here to do a podcast with you. Imagine having you back as a regular guest. Imagine just being able to walk out there. What do you think of this thumbnail? What do you think of
Right.
this title?
Right.
Trust me, the work Jack and I do together cannot be done over Zoom. it can't be done
but
over the phone.
I just feel
It
like we're
doesn't-
doing such independent work that we wouldn't necessarily collaborate in a way that's like.
Oh, but we would.
You think so?
We would check in on each other a lot.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Yeah.
We could be accountability buddies.
Yeah. The only sucky thing we would not be able to do is like, yo, you want to hang? Like, no, I'm not home. It's
What do you
like,
mean?
what do you mean you're not home? I can see you from the window, bro.
Sorry, I'm working tonight. That's probably what would happen. If anything, it would just be, I'm working.
That's what I'm saying.
Damn, Andre's working tonight too.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's all
We would
working.
get together like maybe once a month with Jeremy. We'd go get some sushi,
No,
and then we would go
wouldn't.
back to our
I
home.
don't think so.
No?
I honestly don't think
I
so.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to be fair, like I don't know, like I'm looking at Vegas real estate because let's face it, you haven't lived here for 20 years, right?
Right.
And I think people from California that are coming here to Vegas. So by the way, the Vegas market, because why not? Here in Las Vegas, we have low inventory, we have low interest rates, and people from California, like you said, are fleeing to Vegas just because it's so much cheaper. But what looks cheap to you, I'm like, this is not cheap. This is very expensive, right? For our standards. So I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to buy a house like that's brand new. That's, it's going to be building, or should I buy one that's already on the market? But you're not getting as much of a deal if you're building, especially with a luxury builder.
I disagree. From the research that I've done and from who I've talked to, it seems like in these new communities, when homes are being built, you can get in at a discount, and then prices only go up as more homes are built because you get a lower price for having to deal with construction for a year.
Right.
So if I could deal with construction for a year but save $100,000 compared to a home that's fully done, I'd rather do that. It seems like a lot of these new constructions after 5-6 years start to go down in value versus getting in now, going up in price, and then having more time for it to go back and down and depreciate.
I guess my thing is you're kind of already paying a 30% premium for what you could already be buying that's already on the market.
And why is that? Is that just because Las Vegas right now is really hot?
The builders understand what's going on. They understand it's low inventory. They understand people from California are moving in, and it's just always been like that. People that are building new homes are just right out of the gate paying a 30% premium on the same thing that's already on the market.
I haven't seen that. I looked that one day at like 13 different houses.
Yeah.
And the one that I got was objectively, I think, the best price for the value. Some
In
of these
that
other,
community, yes.
all of Summerlin and Henderson.
Right?
I looked at 13 homes between them.
I don't know. I've spoken to my friends who also live in like luxury markets about that. And they just said, like, if you're going to live in a home that, let's say, doesn't even have a pool over $1 million, it's going to be very difficult to sell unless you build a pool, which I know you are.
Get a pool, yeah.
Yeah, but that's still like you're going to pay extra. And for a house in Vegas for over $1 million that doesn't have a pool, that is a huge premium that most houses on the market just, I mean, if you're going to buy $1 million house, like you're going to have a massive pool, a finished backyard. Like I'm just saying what looks like a great deal from a Californian's perspective, from somebody who's lived here for 20 years is like a huge night and day difference.
So have you seen a lot of appreciation of Las Vegas real estate?
No, I'm seeing depreciation right now. Every house that I'm looking at, they're just every month, not like it's not crazy depreciation, but
before this, to build up the real estate prices, was there significant appreciation for a few years or
I
something?
mean, the run up to the low interest rates, yeah, it just exploded, right?
Are we looking at the same homes? Because everything that I'm saying is selling. Like I favorited certain homes.
It is selling.
They're gone in a week.
It is selling.
and that's in the 750 to I want to say the 1.7, 1.8.
Yeah.
Over 1.8, I agree with you. It seems like the market there is soft.
Yeah.
Under 1.8, it's just like everything is
I'm
bidding
not
wars.
arguing that they're not selling. They're definitely selling. That's not the point. But they are definitely selling. Yeah. But that's that still doesn't speak to the value. That just speak to the velocity of sales. It's just I don't think has much of a relation.
Well, value could be in the perspective of the buyer. So something could be 10% overvalued, but if to another person that's cheap, they're going to buy it. They're going to continue bigging it
that's
up.
what California people are doing here, right? They're coming here and they're like, this is so cheap. And we're like, no, it's not. You guys are making it more expensive. Kind of like what Logan Paul did with Pokemon cards.
But just watch, it's going to get way more.
You think so?
I'm the tip of the iceberg. Seriously, I think as things progressively get worse, more and more people are going to move. And I think this whole pandemic has caused everyone to realize they could work from home. A lot of people are going remote. And a lot of people think, why do I need to live in such an expensive city when I could just go over here?
I think that's 100% true. I think what you're not taking into account is the fact that, like, I have a lot of friends here that are like, I like to call boots on the ground, and they have like normal people jobs. And what I'm seeing from them, every single one of them, like unanimously are like, dude, there's a tsunami coming in Vegas. We don't know when it's going to hit. But for example, here on Thursday, right, across the nation, there's going to be over 40,000 people laid off. Vegas gets hit the hardest, as well as Hawaii.
Yep.
The people that are coming here, which are Californians, are not our clients. They're not the people that spend the millions of dollars in the casinos. These are the average workers. I mean, yes, they make a fat salary of 6 figures, but they're not the whales. They're not the people from China that spend all that money.
Yes.
And because of that, we are getting a massive amount of layoffs from casinos and all across the board. So the only saving grace that I could argue against myself is that maybe the luxury market insulates those kinds of people. So like if you and I buy a luxury home that's 1.5 million, you could argue those people are probably a little bit more savvy than the average home buyer, and they're probably doing it with a safety net in mind. So maybe those home values won't collapse as hard. But I think just unanimously, like people are losing jobs. We are going to lose a lot of money here in the real estate market.
You know what was interesting? The realtor I talked to, when I was asking him about just price insulation, he mentioned that from his experience, this was a realtor of like 20 something years in Las Vegas, mentioned that above $1.5 million, a lot of those buyers, he calls it buy down. Those are buyers who could afford $2 to $3 million, $4 million house. They're downsizing. So for them, that's cheap or that's affordable to go with that price point.
Right.
And so those buyers are the ones where during a downturn, he said, I haven't researched it that much. Those homes typically hold in value because those are the buyers and homeowners who just can wait it out.
Yeah,
and just keep it.
This is a really interesting economy because there's like signals that make both like sense across both directions. So you could argue, I think that's 100% true, right? But then you could also make the case that people are going to lose their jobs, and the luxury market is almost always the first to fall. It's almost always the first that goes. It's the luxury goods that fall the hardest. And these luxury homes, I don't know. It could go one way or the other. They could be insulated more just because those people are more savvy. They have more money. They could hold through the downturn more. Or we could see a massive collapse of real estate of 20 to 30% in a couple months once the evictions start to happen. I don't know.
Did you watch my video on evictions?
I did.
What do you think? I don't think we're going to see a mass wave of evictions.
I know, you don't think so.
The numbers don't add up.
I think the numbers go in both ways. I think literally it's the flip of a coin right now.
How? It's not a flip. The National Multifamily Association found that like 93% of tenants are still paying on time across tens of thousands of rental units.
That's not the statistics I saw.
90%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 92%.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That's not the statistics I read.
What did you read?
I don't remember, but it's not what I read.
Yeah, no, National Multifamily Housing Council. That's what it was.
We're getting mixed signals from every sorts of media platform. Like everyone is telling us a different story. All I know is that as far as the real people that work here, they are getting laid off like crazy, and things are going to get worse. I've seen it with all of my friends, with my parents, with my roommate. He's still out of a job. He just got permanently laid off. Like this is the heart of Vegas. This is what operates our properties. And if Vegas is going to start sucking for tourism, we are not going to be we're not going to be doing really well very soon.
That's true.
And like I said, it could go one way or the other. You could very well be right, and maybe the luxury market will continue to go up, or maybe it'll stay. But I think we will at least see 10 to 20% drop. And that's not to say that I'm going to wait until that happens. Like, you know what I mean? Like if a 20% drop happens, I'll be okay. You'll be okay. So I'm not going to try to time it is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But to me, it's the toss of a coin. Like I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't think anybody knows.
And in your argument as a favor, I do agree that Las Vegas is way more volatile.
Yes.
Overall, nationally, real estate dropped about 35%.
Yeah.
Vegas, I think, dropped as high as like 80%.
For sure.
But also the bubble in Vegas was higher than any other area.
Sure.
And still, if you look back historically, Vegas has not recovered to pre-all-time highs when you account for inflation.
Right.
Like the curve was so high up that now we're like halfway up the curve from where it was in 2006.
Disregarding inflation, we're back at the same price, but not when you take that into account.
Right.
But that's because people in Vegas, we have such a interesting economy, right? Like in LA, you live to whoever you live next to. You probably know your neighbor. You probably speak to them, or like you have okay, maybe you don't because you're like
I don't.
You're like me. We don't really have like much of a social life, but most people in California, they're very community oriented. Like here in Vegas, it is such a transient town that the people that come here and they work, they're here for a little bit and then they leave. There's no sense of like permanent community, and because of that, jobs, there's such a high turnover rate, and that's why there's so much volatility. It's the same for Hawaii. Hawaii gets hit, I think, either the hardest or the second hardest after Vegas. So,
but if you had the opportunity to, would you enter the luxury house?
You know, market? I'm really thinking about it. It's so interesting because, like I said, now I have this windfall of income, right? And I'm like, is this going to keep going? Do I buy a fancy house? Because the house that I live in right now is like $275,000. I pay $1,400. Well, I don't pay $1,400. We pay $1,400. I pay $450 a month for my rent. And like
You're never gonna get that again, man.
The amount of money that I save is like literally 99% now at this point. So on one hand, it's hard to leave that, but on the other hand, right now, my success is the thing that is crushing my success. Because now I've hit this threshold where in order to grow, I need to expand and I need to start hiring people to help me edit, to help answer comments, to help answer emails and sponsorships. Because now at this point, I'm upsetting more people than I'm like growing. Because now it's like, well, Andre, how come you're not doing Patreon? You're not posting as much. And it's just like, there's only one dude doing this. And now that there's thousands of people with expectations, I can't grow beyond this point unless I start expanding. And I'm like, do I want to buy a fancy luxury house? Because if I have this fancy 4,000 or 5,000 square foot home, maybe with a basement, I can turn that into a studio, have a live-in editor. It's going to be awesome. Or do I continue just living here really modestly and just continue what I'm doing? I'm kind of torn. I don't know what to do.
That's a good conundrum to have.
It's a good problem.
I mean, here's my thought is that once you move from here, you're never going to move back. So this is your one chance where you could spend $450 a month and save 99%.
Yeah.
The other issue that I see is you need more places to film from, and I do think you need to spice things up a little bit.
I do.
So I think moving into a larger house with a live-in editor or someone to help you is going to really expand your business. I think a good middle ground for you possibly might be to rent some sort of house or office space that you could work from. So you still stay here, but you could rent, let's say, a warehouse.
Right.
And just turn that into a studio that's a full tax write-off.
Yeah.
And then hire an editor
Yeah.
or someone to work with you who could stay there.
I thought about that, and then I weighed it against owning a luxury property, and I was like, well, what if I buy a luxury property? It's kind of nice because now I have built-in equity, and now I'm building equity, and maybe 2 years from now, if things don't work out with YouTube, I could still sell it. At worst, maybe break even, assuming prices don't collapse.
So why did you decide against that then?
Decide against buying
The warehouse.
Oh, because I think I'm missing out on the upside of potentially owning a luxury property that could appreciate in price over the next 2 years. So even if YouTube doesn't work out for me, if I buy $1 million house, maybe 2 years from now, it'll be worth a bit more. If I sell it, at worst, I could break even, assuming prices don't crash.
Here's what you could do is this, man. Okay, I got the perfect solution for you. You stay here. Buy a luxury house. 100% business use.
Right.
The deductions that you could get from that are crazy. Cost segregation analysis. You could basically take, I want to say maybe 30% of the structure and depreciate that over the first year. You'll have to look into all the specifics about that, but take 30% of the cost of the building, depreciate it all the first year. That could be a few $100,000 as a tax write-off. But then the interest you pay, that's a tax write-off. The property taxes, write-off.
Is it an interest-only loan you're talking about?
No.
Oh.
You get a regular 30-year mortgage on the house, and you deduct the interest on that.
Okay.
So if your mortgage is $6,000 a month, 35 of that is interest. There you go.
What's the downside to that?
No downside. I mean,
downside.
no, I wouldn't see it. That's what I
you
wanted to
doing
do.
that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm living in the house, so I can only depreciate the cost. So I can only depreciate basically what I'm using exclusively for business. But in LA, before I made the decision to move, I was looking for a house that I would be able to fix up and use 100% as an office. And I looked for months to try to find something. Just nothing made sense, or it was way too much work for me to dive
How do you
into it.
write off 100% of the house if you're not using 100% of it for business use?
What?
How do you write off 100% of the house if you're not using 100%?
You
of the
don't. But in your case, because you're living here and you're buying a house for your business, that would enable you to use that 100% for business.
So my LLC would own it then.
No, you own it.
Okay.
And there's plenty of ways to go around. You could rent it to the LLC.
Right.
Or you could just straight up on your own tax rate. Talk
No,
to a
for sure.
CPA about it.
I'm sure there's a
But
lot
yeah.
of creative ways to structure
Yes.
it with a trust or something.
No, you
or-
don't need to get that creative. I mean, I just don't know the exact specifics for your situation, but there's ways to do it.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll figure it out first, and then you'll tell me.
Well, I did it over at I forget what it was on the duplex. I forget how she had it structured, but I had the entire garage. And it was like 500 square feet.
Wow.
Of my 800 square feet of living space that was specifically for business use, and it was.
Okay,
Yeah.
look into it.
So look into it, but a lot of great tax advantages.
But
to
I'm
it.
not sure that I want to buy a luxury home just yet. Like, I don't know what to do. Or do I buy a normal house like this and then pay it off in like a month or two? And now I have a property that I can have a live-in editor and use exclusively as my studio and then rent that to them as well.
I will say you're probably best off staying here and buying a place exclusively for business use.
Right, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
But not necessarily a luxury one.
It could be anything, but I think there's also a benefit of having a nice place to work from.
Oh, for
like my
sure,
backyard is so inspiring to work. Like I get more done in my backyard.
Yeah, I mean, your house is so cool. Like your area is
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
What do you think needs to happen in your life for you to make that decision to buy a piece of real estate?
Just, that's not the politically correct way of saying it, so I won't say it. Just get more courage and just, I think if I have a little bit of a few months next year in 2021, just to see how things are going, if I'm still making like still a good amount, then I would probably have more courage. But I think I'm ready at this point. Like I think even if things were to collapse even next year for me, I could still pay for the place for a year without breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's fine. It's just I've never done anything like this before, and it's such a huge like lifestyle inflation move that
You can't go back.
you can't go back.
That's been my one lesson is moving from that 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 800. You saw it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay. Going from that, like I was super stoked with that place. And for me, that was all the space I ever needed.
Right.
When Macy moved in, I was like, okay, it's not big enough for 2 people when we're both like home all day. So then the Santa Monica house was perfect. But that was a huge step. Like I was so nervous for that entire month.
Right.
I was like, what happens if something happens to the business, if I'm not able to pay it? Okay, well, worst case, I could rent out the house and the guest house and then move back into, like, I'll make it work. And then after I would say like 2 months, I'm like, okay, no, this is fine.
Right.
Where's the next one?
Right.
So it's amazing how quickly your mind adapts to that. And then it's like, no big deal.
I know, but even at that point, it's so easy to be like, I'm ready for my next move up,
Yep.
you know? And it's so interesting. I just watched the minimalism documentary by Matt D'Avella, and it was so great. I mean, I love minimalism, financial minimalism, and it's so true that you're content at this one place in your life, but as soon as you start trying to go beyond that boundary or you start to compare yourself to other people, it is so easy to be displeased with what you have. And then once you expand, you're like, cool. I mean, that becomes your new norm. And
But I will say, in defense of that, I was able to do much better work from that house. It has nothing to do with the cost. It has everything to do with the tranquility and just the feel and the warmth of the space.
just mentally speaking.
Mentally speaking. And it had nothing to do with that being an expensive house or being, I mean, it wasn't that much. The house is, your place, how many square feet is this?
2,000.
This is bigger than the Santa Monica house where I'm living.
Wow.
This is bigger. I think this is a few hundred square feet bigger than where I am.
Your house is what, like
1,800 square feet.
8 times more expensive than this one?
Yes. And it's 1,800 square feet. But for me, it was the backyard.
Right.
Of just posting up in the backyard, having the breeze.
Right.
There's something inspiring about that makes me want to
Yeah.
push myself further.
So it's really interesting because a few months, maybe not a few months ago, like literally a month ago, we just started, I don't know if you experienced the same thing. All of our views started dropping.
Yeah.
I was like looking at these $1 million homes and I'm like, oh crap, this month views are not doing well. I was like, yeah, see, I feel like if I had a huge responsibility like that over my head, I would be so much more stressed. So on one hand, I would have more tranquility and just that whole aspect of the mentality, but then I would also have this stress of like, oh my God, this month the numbers are down. What if they're going to keep going down?
That's a good point. I waited to buy that house until all of my investments could cover the cost of the house.
Right. So you could pay in cash the entire cost of the house, right?
At the time, yeah, actually.
Well, there we
I think
go.
at the time I could have bought the house cash.
Yeah.
But even then, with the down payment I put in the mortgage, so I think all in it's like $8,000 a month.
Right.
I made sure all my other rental properties could cover that one.
Right.
So everything sustains itself, and worst case scenario is that it just breaks even. Or like even worse than that, I'm like, okay, I'll rent out the guest house. It's another $2,500 a month coming in. That'll put me in the green. So like I did all these calculations to make sure everything I could afford it without relying on YouTube.
I don't have those sources of income. If anything, my sources of income, there's like 3 of them that are responsible for, I would say, like 90% of my income, which is terrifying. So I'm trying to build other sources of revenue that at least I'll have a little bit more.
Yeah.
So in case one of them doesn't do well, I could at least rely on the other ones. And just right now, even though I'm making stupid money, not as stupid as yours, it's still like, it's still scary. Interesting.
I would say your goal should be have $1 million invested in the stock market. When you do that, make the down payment on a house.
Okay. I don't know.
1 million invested in the market.
Right. Yeah. I could do that. After taxes, though, I don't know. Hopefully I'll still be a
be able to do it,
millionaire.
yeah.
I think so.
1 million
I
invested in
hope
the
so.
market.
Yeah.
What are your 3 streams of income?
3 streams of income?
Yeah, you said you have 3.
Like substantial. Yeah, substantial ones is YouTube ad revenue, affiliates, and Patreon. Those are just the biggest ones for me.
Now, we should talk briefly about Pokemon. Because I
Yeah, let's bring in. Let's make it a little more fun and lighthearted. It's been getting like really meaty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put people to sleep.
Let me ask this. So besides the stock market, then what about other investments? 'Cause you were going to show us some
alternate
Pokemon
forms
cards.
of investments. I don't know if they're investments or if they're more like justifications for my childhood. I'm sure we all have that. It's like,
What is this?
I'll show you this.
Oh
This
yeah,
is
I never noticed all this.
Impresses all the ladies.
Oh my goodness.
My Pokemon bring all the nerds to the yard.
wow.
See, I got this really cool card. It's a Shadowless First Edition Psychic Energy card.
Of all the cards you picked, you had like a 1 in 4 shot, 1 in 5 shot at picking that card, and you picked that card.
Yeah, it's the one I wanted.
Wow. Look at this. Oh, I remember these. What was her name? Erica.
Erica, yeah.
Yeah, her name is Erica.
Yeah, I got Erica's Venusaur
Whoa, I remember these. Holy crap. What is this worth? So this is a Venusaur.
This is base
Has
set.
base Shadow Venusaur.
Yeah, it's not like Shadowless. I don't have a single Shadowless
Oh
card.
my god. Wait, can I hold it? Can I hold it? Can I?
Yeah.
That one is so
Yeah.
cool.
The
That
dark
Charizard?
one?
Yeah.
Dark Charizard,
I
yeah.
had this. Okay, so this is a Japanese Charizard.
Yeah.
Wow,
Base
I
set.
remember this. I used to like the Japanese shiny cards.
Yeah.
Because they had a cooler holographic.
I thought so too.
Yeah, and they
thought
were
so
more
too.
vibrant.
Not only that, but you were guaranteed a holographic whenever you bought a Japanese pack.
That's right.
You remember?
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And they were worth like $14 or $12, or like something
Yeah.
ridiculous.
This I remember at the card store would be like $30.
Yeah.
At the card store back then, and I like the back of these
cool.
cards a little
Pocket
bit better.
monsters.
Yeah, Pocket
Wow,
Monsters,
I always
yeah.
thought these were cool.
Check this out. First edition Rocket one.
Yeah, you're not delicate, man. It's giving me anxiety. I'm holding these so carefully. Look at that.
Whoa, can I see this one?
Yeah.
Dark
They're not
Blastoise.
graded. That's why I'm not like babying them. And I'm not going to grade
Yeah.
them.
So yeah. Oh yeah. I see all the scratches on it, and
Yeah.
wow, who would have thought, man? What's this Blastoise worth? It's just a regular Blastoise. I don't know, regular
I had
basic
that card.
Blastoise. How much is that worth?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Imagine
So-
if you stole these.
Okay.
If it was you came to my
Okay, dude.
my
I
elementary school.
I told your story to
Yeah,
Corey. I was
yeah.
like, Graham stopped collecting Pokemon cards when he got his cards stolen.
Yeah.
And Corey's like, but you stole yours back. I
you
had
stole-
my cards stolen, and I broke into the person's house and stole them back when I was a
How?
kid.
How do you- but
Because
I
they
didn't know
broke
he
into
stole-
my
I
house, and I
didn't
knew
know
who it
he
was, and I stole them back.
Oh my god.
It was amazing.
So when did you stop collecting?
When?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I literally don't remember. I'm still collecting.
It's cool.
You
I
don't
mean,
stop collecting.
You showed me this thing that you got from the Pokemint or whatever you want to call it, the Pokemon
Yeah.
Mint, right? And you
Uncut
said
sheet,
you
yeah.
bought it for $2,000 and it's
Yeah.
now $7,000.
Yeah, it's like on eBay for $5,000 or $7,000.
And that's a good investment then. That's awesome, dude. That's so
Wow.
cool.
Careful about your first edition
that card
energy
is,
card.
That card is
and
probably worth more than any other card in here, if it's graded.
it looks like a PSA 10. Or like
gotta be a
9.5.
PSA 10,
It's got to
man.
be a PSA. That's for sure a PSA 10. Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. We'll
Life.
make sure to get B-roll on that. So should we wrap up here? We're at an hour. It's still recording.
We probably have 10 minutes though that we weren't necessarily talking.
I mean, let's make it more fun. We talked about pretty heavy stuff. Let's talk
yeah,
about
sure.
What do you do for fun?
what do I do for fun? I have no fun. I have no life. I'm kidding. I just hang out with Corey, my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And we just,
How long have you been Corey? How long
long
have you
have I
been
been-
Corey? How long have you been Corey? Jeez. How
5
long have
years.
you, you've
5
been
years.
You've been here for 5
I've been
years.
Corey 5 years. Yeah. 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 We met on Tinder.
Cool.
Yeah.
You did?
We did.
I'm trying to find love on Tinder, man.
Dude, it works. It works. Sometimes you get people that are just, you're going to be your friends. And some people that are like, oh, you're cool. Let's be more than friends. And you
Yeah.
just never know. It's the digital age. I guess everyone's meeting on Tinder and like whatever other social media network there is. Bumble.
That's true. Yeah, Bumble.
Bumble's the worst. Girls never respond. I mean, I think they're the ones that's supposed to initiate the conversation, but then they don't put any effort into it. They're like, hey.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, because they don't have to put effort in.
No.
because
what-
they know the guys will
Yeah.
respond.
You know what's
Yeah.
crazy? This must have been like 4 years ago. Had a Bumble profile.
Yeah.
Didn't get any matches. Like I'm talking like a match every now and
This
then.
was
you know?
obviously before YouTube.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, this was like 4 years ago, whatever. Almost no matches.
Yeah.
I changed the picture just to see what would happen of myself in front of a Lamborghini with the doors up.
Oh.
I kid you not. overnight. You know how it showed you like the potential match?
Yes.
It was like 50 plus.
No way.
Overnight. And it got to a point on Bumble, I would just swipe match.
It's obviously all about the title and thumbnail.
That's
CTR.
But that is your thumbnail. At the very least, I'm not saying they're all like, ooh, Lambo, because they don't know what the car is.
Right.
But if they're scrolling, it at least was like, oh, what's this?
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You know, Graham said something really, really funny to me. You said when you had Tinder, you know, you could super like someone,
Yes.
and it has this
Corey
blue
super
glow.
liked me. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Well, it has this blue glow at the bottom of your
Yes.
Tinder card or
Yes.
whatever. Graham edited all of his photos to have the blue glow.
Everyone thought I super liked
People
him.
thought that the girls would think that Graham super liked him, which you can only do
That's
one every 24
smart.
hours.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
drastically improved your
That's
match
Yeah,
rate.
no,
Clever.
my matches were so much that I physically like I couldn't keep up with the amount of messaging back.
Wow.
It got so overloaded. And I had to be really careful about which profiles I swiped on because more than likely it was going to be a match.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. It lasted about maybe 30 days before I got a notice from Tinder that they took down my profile.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so it worked up into the point it didn't. And then
That's
they
amazing.
changed I guess they changed the super like now or so. I don't know.
Did you ever meet up with any of the people that you matched?
Yeah.
You did? Did you make friends or did you date anybody?
Old girlfriend for almost 2 years. Was
No,
from
I had no
Tinder.
idea.
Yeah, Tinder.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Huh. Good thing Macy's not here.
Well, I mean, yeah, she knows. I mean, she
I
knows.
know,
She
yeah,
knows
for
about it,
sure.
yeah.
I know.
I
I mean, this
personally,
is many years ago. And,
I
yeah.
prefer Bumble. I think I honestly spend more time on Bumble than I do on Tinder. I don't spend a ton of time on either,
Yeah.
but I do spend more time on Bumble because I feel like it's just much easier when they message first.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're a good looking dude. You're kind of tall. You got it all.
Stop it right now. Stop.
Yeah.
No, you guys.
I mean, being like 5'7" and 5'2", Graham.
5'5".
but you guys
and
are
a
ripped.
half.
Okay, you guys are ripped.
We're not.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I'm out of shape now.
Yeah, but it's crazy how much street cred you get with girls just for being tall. Like, you'd be like, was in jail, have no job, completely broke, 6'5". Girls are like, 6'5"? That's great.
I don't know. I
Match.
think people focus on what they don't have because I don't view my height at all as a perk. I
Yeah.
really don't think about it. I don't think about it at all. And I think about other things. And I'm sure it's the same way with everybody. They only really highlight the negative
What is
stuff.
your downside? What would you say like your critique of yourself is?
I couldn't say it publicly.
I
couldn't say it publicly.
Why?
Because,
You're
man.
not own up to it. This is-
Come
we're in a
on. You
safe
can't do this
spot.
to me. You say what
It's
yours
heart
is.
to heart right here.
Mine was height.
Yeah.
Really?
My
For a
height,
big part was
100%.
height until I would say 3 years ago, maybe about 3-4 years ago. It took me that long to get over my height. I was not self-conscious about my height until I would say right after high school. Because in high school, like it didn't matter. I had a good group of friends. Nobody cared. It didn't make a difference. Then when I got out in the real world, put myself out there, there was one moment where a friend was setting me up on like a blind date. This is like right after my girlfriend of like 2 years in high school broke up with me. So I was like shattered. Like I had no self-confidence. My friend was like, don't worry, bro. I'm going to set you up on a date with this girl. You're just going to hit it off. Like, and he made it seem like this perfect thing. And the girl walks in. She's like, oh, wow, you're short. And just like, but I don't even know if she meant that in like a ew way, but just as maybe just like a, oh, hey, you're short. Like something like that.
But you know what you gotta do afterwards?
Destroyed me.
You know what you got to do afterwards? You got to give her a neg. Like, oh, yeah, you're right. But that's a cute shirt. My grandma owns that shirt.
Oh, wow, you're ugly.
No, just you got to
No.
give
So
them.
how
No,
did
but
that feel? Like, did that
that
crush your spirit?
Crushed it.
I'm so
crushed it. It took me years to get over.
People
that, by
don't
the way.
realize like one random thing. If you can like pick out someone's insecurity with one comment,
Yeah.
you may have no idea.
You might
Yeah,
set
that's
them
it.
off on a path to overcompete and become a YouTube billionaire.
Yeah,
That-
exactly.
that might
Since
just
then,
be
I'm
it.
like, I'm gonna show her. I'm gonna get a YouTube channel. And I'm gonna make millions of dollars. Teach her.
You laugh now, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
there is truth in that. I think
no,
there's,
I don't think so.
I
No.
think there's
I don't think
truth
so.
in people that have less throughout life or like have less confidence to work extra hard to make up for what they feel they lack.
Really?
I think so.
I think that's probably a lot of cases, but I wouldn't say that goes as a general.
I think that is a general rule.
Really?
And I think there are exceptions, but I think it is a general rule.
I don't think
I'm not
so. I
saying
don't
that
think,
that's
yeah,
why you started.
Right.
I'm just saying that there is subconsciously some aspect of you that
but then again,
desired-
that's every single person.
that's every person. Yeah, we desire to have status to some extent to make up for what we think we lack.
But maybe there is an inequality with
sure.
people that are more self-conscious.
For
yeah.
sure.
Oh, stop recording.
Yeah, mine ran out of memory.
I just want to say, you know, I could be completely ignorant to it. This is just what my initial thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
But something like height, there's nothing to hide, right? Because when you meet someone, I mean, it's just right out there in the open. That's
true.
So it's not like
Your flaw is right there.
No, I'm not saying
Everyone can
it's,
see
I'm
it.
just saying, like, if that's your insecurity, like, it is apparent, you know, like, not that it's your insecurity, but that, you know, that is.
Yeah, I get it.
thing.
You're calling me short.
No, I'm not saying that.
It's evidence. It's
evidence.
right
No,
there.
What I'm trying to say is, guys, you guys are really giving me a hard time with this, all right? What I'm trying to say is, like, it's there, right?
Yeah.
Whereas something else can eat away at you because you know that they
What
don't
did
know
you do,
about
man?
this
It
thing.
sounds like you
I feel
murdered
like,
man,
somebody.
we don't need to get into it.
Let him
Yeah.
lead into it. He's about
No,
to
I'm not
get
gonna.
into
I'm
it.
not gonna lead
Yeah.
into it. But I'm just saying, like, this is something that, you know. Not this, but,
What
like,
is it? You could bleep
in
it
general,
out. You could bleep it out, and we'll just talk vaguely around it.
really.
Yeah.
we could talk vaguely around it.
Yes.
Okay.
I've got a ginormous heart.
No, like my biggest insecurities, I'll tell you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess ever since I was a kid, that I was fat. I was really fat. I was really insecure about that. And then as I got older, I was so insecure about being fat that I would wear a rash guard. I would never be shirtless. So then I was extremely pale. And like so I was really pale for all my life, and I was extremely nervous about that. And this may seem small to you, but I wouldn't take off my shirt in front of people. No way. And then as soon as I started getting tan, because I started running cross country, I started getting chest hair. And now it's like a forest, man.
Oh.
Like, it's crazy. Yeah, you can't tell.
Yeah.
But it's a forest, bro. And I thought that when that happened, that would be the day that I would call it quits.
You know, there's a thing.
What?
There's this thing called the trimmer. It's amazing. It'll change your life.
No, but it's not the same, bro, because you get red bumps. Obviously it's still there.
No,
and
don't
You're
don't
not
go
shaving,
bald.
yeah.
Just trim it.
I know I do trim it, but at the same time,
trim.
like, that is probably my number one.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
just
not that big of
overall,
a- it's not a big deal.
overall ape man.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's not a
and
big deal. Okay.
second to that, I would just say asymmetrical face, man. Like,
You sound like a girl.
Yeah.
no, I don't. You don't understand. Like, when we have these podcasts, I'm always on the left side. Okay. You think
funny
this
to
is
hear this, yeah.
No, but that's because you're a dude. Like, I
No,
see
it's
you,
not.
and I think you're a perfectly
No
fine
one-
looking guy. And but
No one thinks that. Trust me. No, people know I'm a perfectly good looking guy. No one thinks that about you.
no,
That's
hey,
what I mean.
you
To
guys
be
know
fair-
you guys are good looking guys,
To
right?
be fair,
I
the
know
first
that.
time I saw Jack, I was like, there's something off about him, and it was
it's
definitely
like-
the symmetry of your face.
Exactly, man. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But no, your face is perfectly.
You should leave that
symmetrical.
in there. Seriously. Because
I'll leave in the asymmetrical face. I'm not going to leave in numero uno though.
It's not that big of a deal.
It is not.
No, you don't.
you're
understand.
overreacting.
You
I-
don't understand.
Okay, how about if you leave it in, you could have people comment about it. No one will ever bring that up.
No,
Ever.
you can't.
I think every flaw Jack
Yeah.
said, I also have.
really.
Yeah, I think literally everything you said is like
Dude,
everyone
come on,
else's.
man. Your arms aren't even.
I'm pale, like way paler than you. I'm hairier than you. Yeah.
No, you're not.
Just because I trim, I'm way hairier than you.
You trim your arms?
Very rarely, but I do.
I have never done that.
Did
Well, there
not
we go.
see This podcast go
Literally
this direction.
every
Okay.
single flaw you said, I've had about myself.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you know what? I can't grow a beard. You both can.
It doesn't
Can't do
matter.
that.
I'd rather not have a beard, to be honest.
Oh, I'd rather have a beard.
really?
Yeah. I think it's so cool. I've always wanted to grow a beard. I can't do it.
You know what, dude? This is ridiculous. Okay, so when I was a kid, me and my family,
Yeah.
we went on a trip to Seattle, and there was a grooming place in Seattle where you can buy mustache trimmers. And ever since I was a kid, I just wanted a huge mustache, right?
You should be self-conscious about that.
I wanted a massive mustache ever since I was a kid. We go to this beard groomer place. I'm like a freshman in high school, and I'm thinking I'm gonna buy a mustache trimmer because I'm starting to grow hair elsewhere. It might come in. 8 years later, this is what I get after like months of growing it out. This, I literally I grew hair everywhere else.
Wow.
Except these 2 inches on my body. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Gosh. You should leave that in there. Seriously.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
cool.
All I'm
that's-
saying is-
that is the only way you're going to be able to get over this, and this is like the first head start. You just do it,
And
get over
actually
with.
and
you're
how
totally
you build
fine.
and how you build a brand.
Yeah.
The more vulnerable you can be and
Oh
more
yeah,
relatable.
seriously. This is your chance.
Yeah.
You have one chance to put yourself.
I'll consider-
It's super uncomfortable, but guys,
It's very
but guys.
uncomfortable. Well, I also
if it's in
exaggerated
there-
it, right? Because for comedic effect, like I'm not an ape, you know? Like I said that like as a joke.
Yeah.
I'm not that hairy, but
But
don't worry, guys. Like it's
Yeah,
not
it's
that big of a
fine.
deal,
Yeah,
guys.
it's
like, all right, can
Yeah.
we move on? What's next?
no, I'm gonna say the only way to move on is just to embrace it.
Why don't you guys say
And
your
the less-
insecurities?
I just did. Mine was height, and I wish I could grow a beard, and I can't grow a beard.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like I look too childlike without a beard.
That's
I've
you
had
are
that
so lucky
same,
that
I've
is
had that same criticism about me. I always have a beard just because I think the same about myself.
Okay.
I feel like I look like a child without a beard.
But you guys are lucky. You don't want to look old.
We're like the same
it's
person,
fine.
like the same
Yeah.
insecurities. I'm 12, even though I'm
Andre, what about
13.
your? You already
Yeah,
said
let's
yours.
talk about
You
it.
already said yours, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So we're fine. So we all did it. If you now are the
Comment.
only one who blur out yours,
All right, I'll
and
leave it in, man.
Okay,
Let us
cool.
know in the comments down below what your insecurities are.
Yeah.
Just here's let's set this as a goal. Okay, everyone, put in your worst. Do
Yeah.
your worst.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you do
The
that,
darker it is, the better.
if you do that, I will respond within the first few days of commenting, 100%, and I will tell you,
everybody.
you are great. You know, don't worry about a thing,
All right.
and that'll be that. All
There we
right?
go.
Just this is a self-help podcast now.
I think
It went in a different direction.
I think that's a good way to
it's
wrap
good.
it up, though.
Yeah, I
it's
think it
very,
is.
it's a very lighthearted
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Cool.
So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for
thanks,
coming
man. This
on.
was
Like
fun.
that was honestly
Thanks for
incredible.
having me, yeah.
It was nice meeting you as well. Honestly, we didn't
Likewise.
introduce ourselves.
Yeah,
I'm
we didn't-
Jack.
Yeah, I'm Andre. Nice to meet
I'm
you.
Graham.
Graham.
I'm smashed the like button.
Well, thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on. That was a
Thank
pleasure.
you for having me.
So, guys, make sure to subscribe. We'll link your information down below in the
Thank
description.
you. I will finally
Everyone know-
push me over 1 million,
Yeah,
please.
exactly. We're going to get you to 1 million today.
Thank you.
Add us on Instagram. 2 free stocks from Weeble down below in the description. Mentorship group. We got that running right now. So if you want to talk, Jack and I live twice a week. It's not one-on-one, but it may as well be.
Yeah.
But so if you want to join that, link down below in the description. Thank you so much. And until next time.
Until next time. Also, let's get a better introduction of Andre.
Yeah?
Just because I don't even think we mentioned the YouTube channel in the beginning. We just talked about the card
Yeah.
stuff.
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me do it. Cool.
And yeah, we're good.
All right,
right?
cool. Yeah.
That was good.
That was a good mix of fun.
All right, Andre, so you're going to introduce us. It's the 22nd ever episode. We have made 7,333. 7,333 videos.
Welcome to the 22nd episode. They have so far made 2,333.
You got to say, welcome to the 22nd ever episode.
Got it.
Ever.